On today's episode of the Startup Junkies podcast, we're joined by the founders of Peanut Pupper, a local startup that makes peanut butter for anxious dogs. Tune in to learn their journey, their mission, and how they serve dogs in Northwest Arkansas and beyond. This is the Startup Junkies podcast.
All right. Welcome to another episode of the Startup Junkies podcast. Thanks for tuning in from wherever, however you're tuning in with us today. My name is Caleb. I'm on the Startup Junkie team. I'm joined by my Startup Junkie co-host, Daniel. How's it going?
It's going awesome. It's a beautiful day in Northwest Arkansas.
Beautiful day in the neighborhood. And we are joined by our friends, the founders of Peanut Pupper, Peanut Pupper Peanut Butter. That's a tongue twister. Peter Piper picked a peck of peanut butter puppers. We've got Daniel and Brent with us. How's it going, guys?
It's going great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we say that all the time. We were very confused about our name too.
Yeah. Well, you could turn it into like a marketing play, just like do like a vintage old school commercial, like and then just have like your like little song peanut butter beep dip dip dip.
So in the 70s, Dr. Pepper had a song called I'm a Pepper, You're a Pepper. And we could do like I'm a Pupper, You're a Pupper.
There you go.
I'm sure Dr. Pepper doesn't care about their trademark, so it'd probably be fine with that.
No.
You'll be good.
Well, I'm always of the mind, ask forgiveness, not permission. And, that usually works really well in terms of trademarks and copyrights.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Right up
good.
until you get that.
Straight from Startup Junkie. This is why we come to Startup Junkie
Exactly.
for this kind of inside.
That is official advice.
Advice you can get
If
nowhere
you're a
else.
business, Startup Junkie says, go ahead and violate copyrights and ask for permission, forgiveness later.
Yeah.
Right.
This is great.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, if we're done giving out free advice, we'll kick it to you guys. Tell us, what is Peanut Pupper?
I'm glad you asked that. Peanut Pupper is a delicious, all-natural, human-grade CBD-infused peanut butter for dogs you want to calm down or help get around. Now, it's delicious for one very important reason, and that is because calming a dog down is only as good as whether you can get a dog to do it. So what we don't want you to have to do is like wrestle a dog and shove a pill down their throat. We have customers that tell us like they hear the jar opening, their dogs do, and they come running for peanut butter because they're like, peanut butter. So we make it delicious so your dog wants it and then they're calm because we don't want you to have to like force your dog to have this. So that's basically Peanut Pupper. So if you got a dog that's afraid of fireworks or thunderstorms or being left at home alone or riding in the car, or CBD also happens to help older dogs with joint pain and inflammation, we can help you with that. And the best thing I can say is customers have been coming back for years for it.
So where was this born out of? Like how was that need identified early on?
In 2020, a friend of mine that Startup Junkie introduced me to named Edwin Ortiz, who is a founder of a great startup called Luncher that I got to help with, invited me to move to Bentonville and help him on that startup. And it was lots of fun. Luncher is a brilliant idea that I wish he would knock the dust off of and relaunch. It was all centered around serving dense office buildings, which was great right up until March or so when everybody got sent home and we went from growing really fast to zero overnight. But
everybody's back now, so yeah.
Yeah. And Edwin had been a merchant for Walmart, and so he'd started teaching me about how to understand consumer packaged goods as a business, which I had no experience with at all. And so when COVID wiped us out, I had this in my mind, like, what are we going to do next? What kind of product potentially could we develop? And I was in Little Rock one day and I found out that I was at my parents' house. I found out my mom was using CBD to help with her joint pain. And my dad's an eye surgeon. And my first thought was, well, why didn't you just talk to dad about some kind of prescription for this? And she said, we did all that and nothing helped me. So we started making stuff for my mom, which is great because we still make a topical salve, which is exactly what we make for my mom. We make a CBD oil, which is made to ingest, which is great for like helping with her joint pain, but it's also good for like calming and deep sleep. But customers asked if we could make it for their dog. And so we started making a dog treat in 2020 actually, and that just took off. It's funny because, a dog can't go online and be like Googling or asking ChatGPT, like, what do I do about my anxiety? I'm so freaked out right now.
They're not seeing a sponsored
they have no
post
idea. Yeah, exactly. But if they've got a human like one of us that sees that they're like distressed every time there's a thunderstorm and you can just give them delicious peanut butter, that calms them down, that's been awesome. So we launched our peanut butter in 2022, and that's just taken off. So it's kind of thrilling to do. So being able to see happy dogs like actually getting relief and knowing that they enjoyed what they were eating on the way is pretty cool.
I'm curious too, as a pet parent, what your ideal customer profile, your dog customer profile looks like in terms of, are they the anxious pet, the dog that's scared of, fireworks or thunderstorms, or in my case, we've got a toddler at home and we have a young lab spaniel mix who has a lot of energy. And there's just creates this constant conflict of like, he's just excited, like, sorry, he knocked the toddler over, type of thing. So we're considering what our options are. And so where does that fall?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would ask you, how old is your dog right now?
2.5
years.
2, yeah.
Or month. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's old enough at this point. You could definitely try some other things to help calm him down a little bit. I can speak to that as someone who has a rescue dog who is extremely hyperreactive and responsive to every little noise. It was rough at first with him, coming from a really tough environment and bringing him into a place that's safe and calming. Obviously, it required a lot of training and hands-on work and a lot of treat giving, but paired with that, found that giving him a little bit of that peanut pupper before a training session helped get him in the right frame of mind where he could be worked with better.
A little something to take the edge off.
Exactly, right. He's just a little bit more calm and not as on edge. And so he was able to focus better, not unlike, when you're working with children, right? In a school environment, they need a place that's calming and safe to learn. And so it's very much the same with pets. But that would be my recommendation is whenever you're going to work with them, and I don't know how you do your whatever training you do with them or what have you, but
it's usually just my wife shouting. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But we always recommend 30 minutes to an hour before a triggering event. Give him a dose based on his weight, and then they're just calm and comfortable for 4 to 6 hours.
It's more so just like an excited want to play and doesn't understand that this tiny human can't play with you in the same fashion that mom and dad can. And it's 8 or 9 o'clock. Let's turn it off a little bit.
and a lot of that does come down to the breed, right?
Yeah.
I have another dog that's just edgy all the time. And of course, she's Chihuahua and Yorkie. So it's just a little bundle of nerves.
Yeah.
And really in her case, she just really has high anxiety. It's not high energy.
Yeah.
But she's really high anxiety. And so she gets a daily CBD treatment with her food. And that just brings it down to a level where she's not hyperventilating when there's a lightning strike or, a loud noise or something like that, or we have to travel somewhere.
I think it's important to point out neither Brent or I are veterinarians or officially trained scientists. This is an over-the-counter product.
But you did stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
Do what?
You said you did stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
I usually stay at Marriott, but Holiday Inn Express is a good place to get rest. And I've only messed up surgery twice after doing that, so that's good. So it does help a little. Now, we're not veterinarians. We're not scientists. We are working with an over-the-counter product that we get lots and lots and lots of feedback from customers in real time. Brent studied biology in college, is that right? And he was on a track to be a vet. So he understands a little bit of how to understand the studies and things like that. The good news is we don't see significant downsides to CBD. So the worst thing is occasionally a dog might want to take a nap if you gave him too much. And we've had 2 customers literally out of thousands that said, my dog took a nap. I gave him a little too much. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And they're like, no, it was a relaxing afternoon. It didn't, it doesn't make your dog high. It just calms them down, which is part of how it helps deepen sleep. But we very specifically don't want a product with THC in it. There's no benefit to having THC in it. We made a full spectrum CBD product at one point for dogs, which legally had a trace amount, so tiny you'd be tired of eating the product before you could get high on it. And we switched to a broad spectrum, which means it has all the other cannabinoids except THC, and we got the same results. We're like, okay, so we don't even have to risk anybody accidentally consuming this and getting drug tested at work or something like that. We don't want to have that happen if there's no benefit to it. So we stopped using that. Now, whether this will help every dog, we can't guarantee that either. But we have seen over and over again in scenarios like you're describing that, like literally your dog will go from I'm freaked out to like I'm just calm, or I've got too much energy and it just kind of brings me down a notch or two. But dogs are like people. We all metabolize it a little bit differently.
I was supposed to say probably exhibits similarly to like humans, in that some people might gain something from that and others might.
That's right. Most dogs do. I mean, we get very little feedback that's not that it didn't help them.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, we're not scientists here. We do instead offer a guarantee. So if it's not helping your dog, we're happy to make that right.
But in terms of its, I guess the consumability, if someone were to accidentally eat it, it's not like they're eating dog food.
No, this is literally a human recipe. It's
Yeah.
salt, sugar, peanuts, and a broad spectrum CBD oil. And I'm glad you asked that, because we have heard reports from customers who are literally eating it, and you've got something over there we want to share with you guys. By popular
I may have
demand.
teed that up.
Yeah, go ahead and open that up. You're going to have to open the seal, the freshness seal there,
fresh.
the inside there. We make this. This is the same exact peanut butter, except this is just salt, sugar, and peanuts. So it tastes exactly what your dog's eating. But this is because, before y'all try this, both y'all grab a spoon of that.
Mhm.
Do either of you have socks on?
Yes.
Yes.
You have. Okay, you both have socks on. Okay, hold on to your socks.
I was like, God, what am I
Who's this nosy jerk that wants to know about my socks?
No, we're
you
actually.
to see them?
Sometimes it does knock people's socks off, so we got to check sometimes.
And I get sweaty feet.
No, it won't make your feet sweaty. That's,
All right, well, thank you for bringing this in.
Cheers.
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 Let's try it out.
oh, I need
Some of your
some
own
too.
product
Yeah.
here.
Can I get a spoon? Brent, you need some of this?
You know what? Yes.
Y'all
I
eat
do.
it first. I
I already ate it.
So literally,
That's very
salt,
good.
sugar, peanuts.
Mhm.
We get customers regularly who tell us it's better than what they call store-bought peanut butter.
Oh yeah, that's
that's legit right
That's
there.
definitely way
And
better.
we're
than store-bought
literally in our 4th week since we launched this product, and we can't keep it on the shelves
Wow.
and we have multiple customers who have come back and bought us out.
peanut. Yeah, but double dip, can I keep that?
We'll get you some. You're
We
welcome.
got plenty of spoons there.
You're welcome to some. And we got more spoons here, so feel free to keep sampling. All
No,
right, you now own that little pile of peanut butter right there. Since you
That's what I was aiming for.
No,
That's
that's
good. That's delicious.
that's really good.
Mhm.
And those are Arkansas grown peanuts
Really?
too. Yep.
Well, it's-
roasted in the skins and
that is awesome.
right here in Fayetteville.
I'm glad you brought that up because, as someone from kind of like the more agricultural part of the state in East Arkansas, I've seen over the last few years the amount of real estate being kind of leveraged more so for peanuts than I've ever seen growing up.
No kidding. Huh.
There are so many more
Right.
peanut fields in East Arkansas than I've had ever seen. And so peanut production in Arkansas, I think, is becoming more popular. I
Do you
would
have
say.
friends that are farmers that grow peanuts over there?
I don't know anybody specifically that
Okay.
grows peanuts, but I'm sure there's probably not 1 degree of separation. That could
I'm a
probably-
nerd, and
Yeah.
if it's possible to tour like a peanut farming
Oh, I
operation,
bet,
I'd love that.
I bet we could tee that up.
Does that sound like
I bet
fun?
we could tee that up.
It's a good
Yeah.
opportunity to eat barbecue too.
Yeah.
Which you probably know a little
Yeah.
barbecue over there.
I do know a few of those places.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I've seen kind of a rise of peanut farming in East Arkansas, which is cool to see.
Well, these
So
are
it's cool.
from the right. We get them from our roaster gets them here. Gets them from Jonesboro.
Oh,
and they're
cool.
harvested from around the Delta.
Very
so.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
Daniel, you mentioned earlier you get feedback from thousands of customers.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing to maybe earlier stage getting feedback from customers who haven't necessarily purchased the peanut butter yet?
Oh. Well, I mean, let me make sure I understand the question right. If they haven't purchased it yet, how are we getting feedback from them?
Like, are you doing
we finding out-
samples? How are you getting out
Yeah,
and,
good
getting
question.
your product in front of people?
Yeah. So at the farmer's market, we've been offering samples basically. Like when I've got a whole list of horrible dad jokes, like do you have socks on and stuff like that we walk people through. Because what we want is we want customers to find out, yes, this is delicious. So my dog, if you had something that tasted like this, my dog would definitely want to eat that. Because if people are like my dog knows my food's better than her food.
Oh,
like I've never
absolutely.
actually eat
Yeah.
her food, but anyway, so yeah, we offer samples to the market. I mean, you're digging into a little bit of like the important, like some of the business side about sales driving, which we'd love to explore that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We right now we give away sample cups that are like little hockey pucks with a QR code so people can scan it and order online after they've tried it. And we get orders like that. We get them sometimes like minutes after we've given them out. We've had people like, hey, they just walked away with this sample and just ordered it to ship. We ship all over the country. We're in the process right now of purchasing a machine to make samples in higher volume for us, which is important because our product is not is a premium priced product. I'm very happy eating the Walmart Great Value brand peanut butter. It's like 4-pound jar is $6. That's $1.50 a pound. Ours are 1-pound jars that our original strength goes for $30. Our double strength goes for $45. But we're not really selling you peanut butter. We're selling you an easy way to calm your dog down. It happens to have been like carried around in delicious peanut butter, so your dog's gonna love you.
It's
for
just
it.
the medium that you're selling that at, basically.
But samples are a big part. Like we want people to find out that it works. Like the same thing as that. Also, we always say don't take our word for it. So the QR codes that we have on the side, one of them is taking us to the lab report, basically, which is so you can see we have it lab tested our CBD before we get it. Then we lab test it again right here in Northwest Arkansas to make sure it has what it says it's in it. But the other one is what we call our Happy Pups page. And that's just, don't take our word for it. This is what other customers have said about it. So we're recording a series of videos that we're never going to stop recording. Just anytime we meet a customer that comes back for more, we always ask them, like, how did this help you? And they're like, well, my dog was like this and now they're not. And I'm like, going on the assumption that people who love their dogs generally just love dogs in general, we always ask them, if this will help your dog, maybe it would help another dog. Would you be willing to tell how this helps? So we've started recording a series of videos. We work with an instructor from the University of Arkansas who's helping us put together this video series like as a concept. But the whole idea is sampling is one way to get people to know about it. The other one is just let another customer tell how it's helped, and hopefully that will help somebody else make a good decision.
Yeah. That's a good point. You know, dog lovers, they just like helping dogs in general.
Yeah.
Which I imagine that's something your brand is pretty strong on too. Are you guys doing anything necessarily for like dogs in the community?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about that. So we have a couple of different initiatives. One is at our weekly farmers market booth. We have an extra space that we've made available for pet rescues and shelters to come in. They can set up. You know, we provide the tent, the table, whatever else they need logistically, and we just give them that space, at no cost and asking nothing in return, and just let them bring in some adoptable dogs. And so we've had really great success with that. I think this year, since we started it, we've had almost a dozen dogs adopted directly through the market. And then, of course, each of the rescues have gotten, hundreds of potential leads to follow up with or add to their mailing lists. So we've had really great feedback from that in the community and from our rescue partners. And of course, the easiest way to get a free jar of Peanut Pupper is come down and adopt a dog on the market day, and we will hook you up just as a thank you for adopting one of those sweet pups. We are also doing a special discount program for people who foster dogs. Fostering is often kind of a thankless and invisible role in the process of pet adoption. These dogs come in from sometimes the most horrible of situations, and they're just not ready to be adopted by the average person. They come in and maybe they've got mange or they're just terrified and they're, reactive and bitey. And so volunteers will take these dogs into their homes sometimes for, 8 to 12 weeks or more. One, to alleviate the volume of dogs coming through the rescues, but also to help rehabilitate them or train them. They often will get their veterinary care completely out of pocket with no reimbursement, no expectation of compensation. And they're just really like angels in our community. And so we have a special discount program when they buy direct from us for that as well, to give them, at least help offset some of those costs of being a wonderful volunteer.
Awesome. Yeah, and it seems like those dogs who might be going through foster, that system, those are the dogs who need it. It feels like it. Those are dogs, if I had to take a guess, have the most anxiety.
We have a lot of customers who are fostering dogs. They're like, oh, yep, I've got 2 pity mixes, and they get this every day. And that's a really great feeling too, knowing that our product is actually like making it's not just a living, right? Like it's making a positive difference in the world. And when you believe in a product like that, you just want to tell everybody about it. I've worked in a lot of jobs and sold a lot of stuff, and this is one of the few that I'm really, really, truly proud of.
Yeah, no, as you should.
Unequivocally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so in terms of outreach, is it primarily through the markets, and like how are you reaching customers in that sense? General marketing, like are y'all doing social media stuff? Like what's that look like?
It started in the Bentonville Farmers Market. Actually, before that, the Little Rock Farmers Market and a couple other markets in Little Rock.
Mm-hmm.
The Bentonville Farmers Market is a very large farmers market with excellent vendors, and that's fun because we get people who just moved here yesterday and people from all over the country just coming to visit. And so the fun thing for us is we're constantly meeting new customers. And like Brent said, like we're just finding out if they need what we have.
Yeah.
And then we've got some good news because we can help them. 3/4 of the dogs in the US have some form of anxiety, and like 1 in 3 have some sort of joint pain. So like pet dogs that are like being rescued, like you're right, they're probably the most stressed because they have so much like psychological insecurity about where they're going to be. Are they going to be like in an alley tonight, sleeping, fighting for food or something? So we love that because we love to see these dogs find homes. But in terms of like how we market, like we started out just meeting customers. It's a great way to like get customers to help us build our products by giving us feedback. We are big believers in the concept that like everybody that works with us is a product manager. Like in other words, like we're trying to figure out how do we make the product better so we can serve customers better, which means we want them to tell us what sucks. Like if there's something wrong, do us a favor and hurt our feelings. Because if
they've
you do
got that
that
direct line to you,
exactly, then we can help serve them better and help serve customers better. So we're eager for that sort of thing. So we started in the farmers market. I'm so thrilled that Brent is my co-founder. His experience as an expert in e-commerce over in his second decade of doing that right now has helped us enormously. We've gone from what I would describe our website, under my direction was like the Flintstones, and he's taken us to the Jetsons. Like we're in the space age in terms of that. And it's thrilling to see that like within a very short time when he revamped that, we went from, I think we were doing an average cart value of about $40 and it's up to about $70 for an average cart value. Just some little things that he did that he understands from an e-commerce perspective. Our next phase is going to be some online marketing. We're big believers in working directly with influencers who are like dealing with dogs that have these kind of problems, and they can share that kind of problem. So we do have a go-to-market strategy that we're like not publicly announcing that's somewhat around that, but it also ties directly into our e-commerce like direct advertising campaign that we're developing right now. But because we make a CBD product, we're in a kind of a weird legal gray area. So we have to like actually do things differently than if we had some other ingredient in our product in terms of how we can advertise legally.
to thread the needle a little bit.
Yeah.
What's that?
Are you an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur looking to get plugged into the ecosystem? We host a ton of events designed for education, inspiration, and collaboration, from weekly meetups to quarterly events like pitch competitions and annual events like our marquee event, the Startup Crawl, which is the largest startup party in Arkansas. Check out our event page on our website, sign up, and we'll see you there.
I imagine that there are a lot of regulations kind of revolving around CBD, especially on the state, federal level.
Yeah.
Have you had to make any like major adjustments or pivots due to certain regulations?
Well, we're in the process of dealing with some right now, actually. Under the federal farm bill from 2018, CBD and several other things were legalized, including some things that were not intended. There are ways that people have been growing what amounts to marijuana, but they're selling it outside of the normal state regulatory or statutory like bounds. So the state of Arkansas, for instance, where we're located, passed legislation in 2023 to try to stop what they consider to be bad actors who were bringing what I would call loophole marijuana into the state outside of the medical marijuana that's constitutionally provided for in Arkansas. And it looks like that legislation might have swept some of our products into it. And so we're in the process, hopefully, of solving for that, because we've spoken with the sponsors of the bill, and they assured us that their intent was not to affect products that don't make people high, which our product won't. And so hopefully we're going to be able to resolve that so we can continue to serve our human customers and our dog customers. Federally, there's a challenge because there's a thing where a regulation basically says if an ingredient is used as an active ingredient in an FDA approved prescription, that it changes the whole way that you're able to use it as an over-the-counter product. So we're also looking at how do we solve for that, because it could be construed to mean the federal government is saying we can't use this as an ingredient. Again, from our mind, that's kind of arbitrary, and I don't think that was the purpose of that law. And that's just something we're going to have to hopefully deal with. But it's a challenge. I know in any startup, there's always existential threats that are hanging over your head, and these are two significant ones that we're constantly thinking of. We just have to keep pushing forward, knowing that we are doing good for our customers, and hopefully that goodwill will translate when it comes time to hopefully resolve and get clarity on potential regulatory problems that we might have to deal with. Right now, CBD is heavily unregulated, and it's now starting to be regulated in different ways all around the country. Our contention is, caffeine is not heavily regulated, right? CBD won't make you high. Caffeine and CBD are kind of like opposites of each other. So why do we have to be regulated just because we're a cousin of marijuana, basically? Anyway, I don't know if that answers my question. Brent
that's a great point,
better,
right? Like 1,000 milligrams
this.
of CBD will make you take a long nap, as an adult. But 1,000 milligrams of caffeine could give you a heart attack.
Yeah.
Right. And yet I could go buy a dozen energy drinks right now and chug them. And
nobody's going to stop you from leaving the store.
Right?
Yeah.
So it is an interesting, it's just, it's a process, and we're working through it.
And I wondered, from a marketing component, how much space do you give potentially to education? Like learning curve stuff.
That's a good question.
That's a big part of what we do, especially every week in the market. We really kind of have our message, I think, dialed in pretty well to address any educational questions. I love getting those personally because I'm a total nerd and I nerd out on scientific
I'm
things.
a bigger nerd than you are. These are fight words. Like we're gonna have to get into like a math contest.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's a big part of what we do. Integral to our marketing is education, right, and creating that trust and authority as a brand that people can go to and go, okay, yeah, these guys, this is legit, and they know what they're doing, and I can listen to them.
And I imagine too, you're happy to get that question because then you know that you are discipling that individual, because that person you're educating them on what this is and what this does and doesn't do, and therefore that's another person that's not then going to spread the wrong notion.
Absolutely. That's a big part of it. And when people already have a preconceived notion, like,
is this pot for dogs?
Right.
My dog's high.
They walk by and you're like, hey, would you, like a sample of our CBD infused peanut butter? And they go, no thanks, man. I don't do that stuff. And then they have no idea.
Right. Yeah. There'd be a very disappointing drug use if that was what you were trying. If that was what you're trying to accomplish. You'd be real disappointed.
Right.
It's a good question about like what we're communicating to people, because we started in a farmer's market.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't lettuce, right? Like if you walk up to one of our neighbors that makes like this delicious buttery green lettuce, there's not a lot of explaining in that. Like, what are the benefits of this lettuce? It's like, well, you get your antioxidants. Like nobody asks those questions. For us, every new customer we have a short class. We have to walk them through to see, does this make sense to you? And then we also, like any good startup, should want to figure out how do we say this in a way where not only are they not going to say anything bad about us, but it's clear enough that they can go away and explain it to somebody else, which is, my dog was anxious and now they're not. Yeah. Which is one of our favorite things to hear. Yeah.
And some of our best marketing comes from our customers. Can't tell you how many times, we've had a small crowd gathered and they're listening and weighing, is this something I want to, purchase? Because we're not asking $5. I mean, it's a small investment. We recognize that. And then some, 80-year-old grandma will like bust through the crowd and be like, oh, just buy it already. It's amazing. And she's plunking down cash for another jar for her dog. And like that happens.
You could plant
more often.
those in the crowd.
I know, right?
I got hustled by a guy in San Francisco that way.
But it happens a lot. And it's amazing to see because anytime one of our customers comes up like that and will speak for us, it's like, suddenly like everybody's buying
some referral links.
Which interestingly enough, we actually do have an ambassador program.
That's
so
cool.
If anyone listening out there is a TikTok maven or Instagram influencer and has a dog that would benefit from this, we'd love to talk to you. So we do
That's
have
awesome.
a very generous ambassador program
That's
online.
I feel like that's a really good place to evangelize the product there to people that already kind of understand and also have kind of their own following to an extent where it's like, hey, maybe we just mail you some, and if it's great, you let the world know type of thing. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's very rare that we have two co-founders on the show, so I want to take an opportunity to ask you a question. I don't know if I've ever asked on the podcast. Brent, what's it like working with Daniel?
Really pretty great. Daniel was a friend before he became a business partner. And so it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know him better in a lot of ways that probably wouldn't have imagined in this process. And hopefully he feels the same. But
we're about to find out.
I love it because I think we have a lot of complementary strengths, and where some of my weaknesses are, I think he's strong and vice versa. And so I think we've made a pretty good team so far.
Yeah.
And so it's been great. This isn't my first startup rodeo, and I've, done other things that were entrepreneurial or solopreneurial, and it's lonely out there. It really is. When everybody has the lows and the highs, and when it's low and there's no one to have your back or to talk to about it, it's really lonely. And so having a co-founder that I can go to and we can talk through these things when we're feeling them, it's such a difference. It's such a big difference.
Yeah, it seems like you guys make a really good team.
Yeah.
So Daniel, we're going to kick it over to you. What's it like working with Brent?
I'll get philosophical for a second. I believe as founders of startups, like when we're founding startups, we should think about our co-founders and our investors like we would think about somebody we want to have a long-term relationship. Like the analogy to a marriage is very similar. Like, because at least for decades, I've heard this said about investors, but co-founders I think are even more important because co-founder is always in the trench with you. Brent and I, like you said, we've been friends for several years now. In fact, we met at the first Fuel Accelerator demo day back in 2018, I think, or maybe 2019. I need to find out when that was. At the time, I was working in real estate SaaS with a startup then, and I was talking to Brent, and just this brand new guy I just met, and he was like, "Well, it's interesting. We sold a company to Zillow." I'm like, "Holy cow! Like this guy has already kind of like developed similar things to what we're trying to do." And so we became friends after that, and then when I was expressing to Brent some of my frustrations with my technical inabilities, he said, "Well, let me take a look at that." And so he took a look at it. He was like, "You've also got this, this, and this." And I'm like, "Well, what do we do with that?" He's like, "I already fixed that for you." And he kept finding things that were wrong and fixing them for me. I'm like, "We have no official business relationship. Like, you're just a friend helping me." And the more he did, the more I thought, he's like a founder. Like his attitude is so different from like, "And I'll charge you this much for this thing." Like he just had this attitude of like, if something needs to be done, I'm going to go do it. And it wasn't, yeah. And I love that. And the other thing, and I'll just like tug at heartstrings for a minute. Thing I love about Brent, he like if I went back in time and tried to pick like who would have been a perfect friend to have been a friend since I was a little kid till now, if you've seen Stranger Things, we were probably like those nerds growing up that would have just loved hanging out with each other. Like Brent and I have like such a cool relationship with just, he gets my nerdy dad humor, even though I don't have kids, like, because he is a dad and he's, but we also like get these rare, like cultural references that we make to strange, like one-off cult movies that nobody's seen before. I'm like, this is so much fun. Cause I'm like, literally we're just serving our customers and hanging out with like one of our favorite people. So it's a lot of fun hanging out with Brent.
It goes a long way when there's that genuine like likability factor, cultural fit, but also to like touch on a point both of y'all mentioned, the ability to supplement each other in areas of strength that y'all have that the other might not have, just like lightens the load for the distance, the runway of the work associated with it. I feel like.
Good yin and yang for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, he's not just technically superior to me. He's like, he is so well-rounded as a co-founder. It's thrilling to work with somebody where I'm just like, if I can't be in the room, I'm not real worried about it because Brent's there. So it's a lot of fun. And I'm glad you asked that because I could brag about Brent all day long.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks, Daniel.
to continue to get philosophical with us, if we're gonna hop in the time machine again.
We are going to hop in the time machine.
We're gonna go back in time, whether that be back before before 2020 or before even further back, kind of when you were both launching your own separate entrepreneurial endeavors. What advice, given all the accumulated knowledge you have now, what advice would you give your younger self, young Daniel, young Brent?
Oh man. Boy, come back to me.
All right.
I'm gonna kick that over to him.
Yeah. I think you need to, there's a couple of layers of it. You need to start with determining what it is you actually trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a CEO forum several years ago, and they polled the CEOs around the table, and they asked us all, in 5 years, where you want to be. And my co-founder and I at the time, were the only people at the table who didn't say, I want to be on a beach in 5 years. Listen, I love going to the beach as much as the next guy, but if your goal in building a startup is to go to the beach, you shouldn't build a startup. This is not the thing for that. Startups are not a day at the beach unless you just really enjoy a challenge, which is a great thing. If you want to start a startup, you need to enjoy a challenge. So you need to know what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So for instance, for us, we want to build a world-class company. We're not just looking for a big exit and go sit on a beach somewhere. We want to serve customers. We're getting to do that now. We just want to serve more customers. So I think you need to figure that out. I think you have to figure out where it is you're trying to go in life and come up with a philosophical reason why it matters what you do. And that may sound a little woo-woo, but I learned this lesson by, I love to read, and I was reading a book by a guy named Pete Carroll. You'll probably remember him, former a football coach. The first time I was acquainted with Pete Carroll, he brought USC to Arkansas a couple times years ago and just beat the tar out of us. It looked like
2 years in a row.
Junior high team playing against the NFL champs or something. Yeah. Then he went on and won some Super Bowls too. But a lot of people don't know, Coach Carroll got fired 11 times. And the last time he got fired before he started winning consistently, he got fired from the Pats and was replaced by a guy named Bill Belichick. And when he got fired, he's describing this in his book. It's called Win Forever. And I suggest you get it just as a short primer on how to think about developing a philosophy for what you do in life. He says, licking his wounds going, I've been a coach all these years and I know how the game of football is played. How come I can't win consistently? And so he's reading another famous coach, the greatest basketball coach of all time, John Wooden, won 9 championships in 11 years at UCLA. Coach Wooden was more a philosopher than a coach. And as Coach Carroll was reading him, he realized Coach Wooden had a philosophy. He had a North Star for why he did what he did. And so Win Forever is Coach Carroll's, it's his book about his distilling his philosophy of what he did. I'm a Christian. I cannot begin to require anybody to be a Christian to work with me. That's not even on my mind of what I would want to do. Plus I can't read people's hearts. So I can't say the number one thing as a Christian is that I get to love God. But what I can ask for our team and for our culture is, can we love our neighbor, which according to the Bible is the second thing we ought to do. And most people can agree, if loving your neighbor means doing for other people like you would hope they would do for you, that's our philosophy. And so why I do what I do is that. And that's what I would encourage anybody who's thinking about being a founder to think in those terms. And as long as we're pitching a reason to do that, consider loving your neighbor as a reason to be in business. It'll inform everything you do. How much care do we put into the quality of the product, right? Are we cutting corners on the quality of the ingredients? Are we putting ingredients in there that aren't making you healthy? No, because we want to love our neighbor and what we do. I'm not against, I like Great Value peanut butter. There's probably chemicals in there I can't read too. It's just delicious peanut butter. But we make ours as salt, sugar, peanuts, and in this case, a broad spectrum CBD. And we do that for that reason. So my advice would be figure out why you want to do something, because it'll help you through the inevitable times when you're why in the world am I doing this? I'm oh, there's a answer to that. And I thought about it before I got here because I knew difficult times were going to come along.
Yeah, that was a great answer and an easy one to follow up.
I should have gone first. I would say 2 things that I've learned in my journey as an adult. One, growing up, I was always cripplingly perfectionistic, which I got by fine with, as a kid through school and even college. I was able to kind of overcome my perfectionistic tendencies and still get stuff done. As an adult, when you have, especially as an entrepreneur, when you don't necessarily have anybody cracking the whip on you, it can cause you to delay or procrastinate, just getting your thing out there. And so I would say that's the best advice, is just ship, right? Like when it's 90%, it's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, because it'll never be perfect. And so whatever it is you're crafting, whatever it is you're making and putting out in the world, recognize when it's 90% and that's good enough. Get it out there. Better tools will come along, or your better ideas will come along, or the changes you make today will inform what you do tomorrow. And so you can never have everything like perfect before you launch or ship. Like you just got to pull the trigger and do it. And then implement, just continue to iterate. And so it's really more toward working toward improvement rather than coming out of the gate and being perfect. It's never going to happen. The other thing that I learned is that it's surprisingly easier than you think, to get in the room with incredibly talented and influential people. And that's something that I never would have done when I was younger. I kind of grew up with sort of more of a blue collar work ethic of, the old bootstraps. I'll do it myself and I'll do everything myself. And I don't need, anybody to help me. I'm going to be my own man and make my own way. And it's a terrible mistake because you can't, like the efforts of one person will never equal the efforts of like an army of people, right? Why reinvent the wheel? Like go out there, find people who have done what you want to do and talk to them and get them to be your mentors. It's surprisingly easy. At least maybe here in Northwest Arkansas, we have world-class business community and people who are seasoned CPG experts and experts in every other field imaginable. And I've been amazed at how often I've been able to make some incredible connections by just sending a well thought out email, something to show, hey, I'm serious and I admire what you've done. And I'd love, for the price of a cup of coffee, I've had conversations with, CEOs of Walmart and, other, Fortune 500 companies. Incredible. Like it's a invaluable tuition, again, for $10 in Starbucks. So, like it's easier than you think. Just go out there and do it, right? Just feel the fear, do it anyway. And that's my.
That was really good advice. It's easier than you think wasn't what I would have said, but I was going to say it's harder than you think, but he's exactly right.
It's relative.
Asking people for help, and people want to help you. People like the thing I love about Startup Junkie is y'all exist to help us. Like if you want some other advice, go start with Startup Junkie.
When we find that we are blessed in this region, I think too, because that is just kind of ingrained in the DNA. And we're able to do what we're able to do with the clients that we serve because the people in this region that is their inclination. Yeah. And it's so much easier for us to help someone. We're not going to get in the trenches with everybody. We can't, but we can make that introduction, that email, say, hey, even if they're in the same industry, we found people are willing over a cup of coffee, we're willing to answer some questions and say like, hey, we know you solved this problem. We know you had this roadblock. So-and-so is also dealing with this now. Want to introduce y'all. Y'all need to pick each other's brains. And the likelihood of them going and having those conversations that move the needle for, oftentimes for both of them. It's just, I feel like it's more common here than probably most other places.
Yeah.
But I'm biased.
It is interesting because there are, it still feels like a small town up here. And I'm not sure what'll happen with the explosive growth we're experiencing, how that's going to be in 5 or 10 years. But I love how I live in Bentonville. I just bump into people out walking my dog that teach me something. I mean, they're like Brent said, they're world-class experts. Walmart's the biggest company in the world, and it attracts brilliant people there, and we get the benefit of learning from them. It's just fantastic. That was well said. I'm going to have to think. Now I get to go away from this thinking about what Brent was just saying.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys. This has been a great conversation.
If any of our audience, they want to learn more about Peanut Pupper and learn about you guys, where should they go?
Go to peanutpupper.com. There's no S in Peanut Pupper. There's somebody else has that, but Peanut Pupper with no S, PUPPER.com. You can find us at Peanut Pupper Pup.
Yep.
On Instagram as well. And I don't actually know our handle on Facebook. We just search for us on there. But the best place to find us if you're in the area is come visit us at the Bentonville Farmers Market. It's every Saturday until the end of October. And then if everything goes according to plan, we'll be at an indoor market just a block off the square.
Nice.
And you can meet us in person. We'd love to meet people. We love feedback, and we love like helping you help your dog.
Awesome.
That's where we prototype interesting, small, limited edition products like our Just Delicious Peanut
That's
Pupper for
awesome.
humans.
Well, you have a check mark from me.
Hey,
I like it.
we might roll out
Not
some
me.
different
I'm over here
versions.
licking the cap.
We've made some delicious versions in the past, and so if we're making some for people, we might roll out again for the holidays. We might do we had a really good pumpkin spice, which sounds awful, but it was really good.
No, that sounds
good.
legit.
I'm biased against the idea of pumpkin spice. It turns out it's really good, and that's why people like
You
it.
do a little Christmas one with a cranberry swirl in it.
Oh.
It was-
We might do a peanut butter and jelly, or maybe a honey roasted peanut
That one,
butter.
y'all can have that one for free. Just send me a sample.
All right.
Personally, there's nothing better in the world than a peanut pupper and huckleberry jam sandwich. But
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, we'll have to make
All
one
right.
of those.
Yeah.
see me about some huckleberry.
I'll take the last bite. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share with a friend. Subscribe and review because it matters to us and we want to hear from you. If you're interested in learning how to work with us, check out the information below. See you next week.